Alrighty, so as said before, our presenter is here, and I'm not going to delay any much longer. All right, so our presenter today is Miss Lenika Roden. I hope I got that correct. All right, Miss Lenika Roden is an environmental scientist and consultant. And she has many titles here, many job titles here. All right, so she is a environmental scientist and consultant. That's one field right there. She's also a development project manager. She is an experienced educator. She is an entrepreneur and business development consultant. Wow, so that's quite a lot right there. So I'm already assuming that this lady who's coming to speak to us is very experienced, right? Right. Miss Roden holds a BSc degree in marine biology and international relations, extensive certification in project management, and is currently an MPhil candidate in environmental biology at the UE Mono. Ah, that's my alumni. All right, so I'm not alone here amongst the sea of UTech. No offense, guys. Alrighty, so Ms. Roden currently serves as the coordinator of the Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network, where she's responsible for overseeing the management of the CYCN, which is Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network, and the logistical arrangements of the network, including supporting the executive and their initiatives, strengthening the global advocacy and campaigns, convening capacity building training for youth climate leaders, research, policy, and leadership on emerging priorities for youth-led climate action. For her work in helping to promote the role of STEM in development, she has been named one of the youngest members of the Organization for Women in Science in the Developing World. Wow, this lady's so like she have it, right? All right. Miss Roden is also the founder and manager of eBioMe. I hope I got that pronunciation right. So that's eBioMe, a scientific research consultancy which helps to promote and transform the role of STEM, that's STEM in Jamaica. The company was named a finalist in the Vincent Hosang Venture Capital Competition in 2019 and has operations not only in Jamaica, but Trinidad and Tobago. For its work in the field of environmental conservation and innovation, they were awarded the International Agents Energy Globe Award in 2019. Ms. Roden is a certified PADI open water diving scientist and project manager who specializes in personal writing and development consultancies, presentation development, monitoring and evaluation of projects, climate change mitigation, business planning, and grants application. Lenika Roden has been awarded the Governor General's Award for Excellence in 2015 and the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence in Community Service in 2017. All right, so without further ado, having heard that mouthful about our presenter, without further ado, we now have Miss Lenika Roden to take the platform, take the stage, the virtual stage for the remainder of the session.
Hi everyone, hi. I want for this session to be interactive first and foremost. So my name is Lenika Roden, and I am the COO Program Manager at Dress for Success, Jamaica. So I'll give you a little bit of information about the organization. So sorry to not be showing video at the moment. I soon put on my camera. I'm actually in a lab session right now at the University of the West Indies, where I'm also a graduate student. So we're all students, right? So I hope that intro will allow you guys to interact with me as much as I want to interact with you. And I'm hoping that our video will start playing now. All right, so we're going to watch this video.
interview. So now you have one question. What do I wear? The realm of business attire can be very confusing. Understanding why appropriate attire is important and learning some smart dressing tips can help you dress for success. Dressing appropriately for an interview and at work is important for a variety of reasons. It helps you look qualified for the job and look the part. This helps interviewers, coworkers, managers, and clients trust and believe in you. It is also your personal brand. How you present yourself is a reflection of who you are. Lastly, people make snap judgments based on appearance. These first impressions are lasting, and while they can change, it's helpful to have a good one. Now, to help you dress the part, here are 7 smart dressing tips. Tip 1. Know your industry. Each industry tends to have certain expectations for attire and style. For example, high corporate tends to dress more formally, and California tech companies tend to be more casual. Knowing this can help you get an idea of how to approach your wardrobe. When you attend a career fair or a networking event, pay attention to what people in your industry are wearing. Tip 2. Know your company's rules and culture. In addition to knowing the vibe of the industry, it is important to know your company culture. This can help you gauge the level of formality as well as what accessories can be appropriate in your workplace. Your company may have specific rules on attire, such as a dress code, and it is important to follow them. However, if there is no official dress code, a great place to start is by looking at your company's website to see how they present themselves in their photos and marketing. This can clue you into the company culture. Tip 3. Know the difference between casual, smart casual, business professional, and business formal. These different styles become increasingly formal. Here's an easy way to think about each style. Casual is what you typically wear on a daily basis. Smart casual is an elevated, more stylish version of casual, although it is still considered informal. Business casual is very common in many offices and can be very ambiguous. Generally, it includes elements of business attire that are worn more casually, but are still meant to look professional. Business professional is a traditional form of business attire that is usually more conservative. Lastly, business formal is reserved for the most formal settings. It is similar to black tie, but remains professional. Still confused? You can find a more in-depth explanation of the differences by searching Indeed Guide for Business Attire. Tip 4. Make sure your clothes match your level of activity. When first starting out, be prepared for a variety of levels of activity in your new role and for them to change throughout the day. For example, in a more formal environment, wear formal footwear, but bring a comfy pair of shoes in case you are doing a lot of walking or going to remote locations for meetings. Being able to stand and move easily is going to allow you to do your best work. Some professionals keep an extra pair of shoes in their office for those times when they will need to change it up for the day. Tip 5. Buy pieces you can mix and match. If you're just starting your professional wardrobe, you don't need to have a lot of clothes to have a lot of outfits. Buy clothes in a similar color scheme so you can mix and match to create many outfits without having to buy many pieces. Also, think about using consignment stores, thrift shops, or social groups like David Seller Trade on Facebook to supplement core pieces in your wardrobe. Tip 6. You do not have to compromise your sense of style to dress appropriately. Wear pieces that make you feel confident. Just remember to stay within company guidelines. Tip 7. Dress for the position you aspire to be. If you are looking to land that position or move up in a company, dress for the position you want. This can help your higher-ups envision you in that position later down the road and help you envision yourself there as well. When in doubt, err on the side of more formal wear than casual. This information is not only relevant for interviews in the world of work, but also career fairs and networking events that you attend along the way. Dressing appropriately for an interview and at work can help you be successful. This may seem overwhelming at first, but practice these tips, and in a few weeks, you'll be dressing and working like a pro.
All right, so I'm seeing your students goes in and out. Was that the same for all of you? And feel free to open your mics and talk back to me as well. Not entirely. All right, so I'm going to start my presentation now. So as mentioned before, I'm Lenika Roden, the Program Manager for Dress for Success Jamaica. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what Dress for Success Jamaica is. Firstly, we are affiliated with Dress for Success Worldwide, which is currently in over 150 countries. Dress for Success Jamaica specifically started in 2009 by Ms. Charmaine Lewis. It is a non-profit organization with a mission to promote the economic independence of disadvantaged women by providing professional attire, a network of support, and the career development tools to help women thrive in work and life. So basically, women who don't necessarily have the financial means to purchase their first suit for an interview at Dress for Success, we provide, especially at Dress for Success Jamaica, we provide women with 5 suits needed for their first week of work. And we teach them how to mix and match. We teach them different skills, public speaking skills, interview techniques, basically career development tools that can really prepare them to succeed in life. And we have a social, we're supported by a social enterprise, the Image Training Center, which is an image training consultancy. It provides individual consultancy. So if you're having trouble with your image, trying to decide how it is that you want to look in society, because you have some people who can decide upon what image they want to portray. If you're struggling with that, then Image Training Center is something that can help you. So we ask this question a lot of times, and this question is, why is dressing for success important? I don't know about you, but when I was at the University of the West Indies in my undergraduate years, given that I'm still here, I used to always find it so stressful to have to wear decent clothes to come to school, because I was just okay with wearing Crocs and a little jeans and a top. Even if it is that I was supposed to go to somewhere, an event that is important, I want to feel relaxed and I'm comfortable in wearing a little Crocs and a little jeans, pants, and a top. And I'm sure many of you can relate. And if me I talk to, please put it in the chat. If you agree, put it in the chat, because I'm monitoring the chat as I go along. So nobody agrees? Yes? Okay, I know a lot of us, we prefer to be very comfortable. And even though we have something good to offer, we always go by the saying, don't judge a book by its cover, right? Everybody try to go by that saying. However, how many of you really and truly don't judge a book by its cover? Like, think about it. I know it's a saying that we all say and we try to live by, but when you first see somebody, what's the first thing? Did you start to form an opinion of that person? We try not to. We really do. And even the goodest of people, they try not to form an opinion and they try not to judge a book by its cover. But sometimes we just see somebody and we have to especially think about, I always say to people or clients of Dress for Success that you have to think about yourself in the position of the interviewer. So you don't know this person from Adams and the person comes to you for an opportunity. And so, you know, you have to go by how it is that they present themselves, right? And so the answer to why dressing for success is important is because opportunities and competition depend on how it is that you carry yourself, the message you're sending based on how you package the video, right?
No, this is lower school, 7 to 9.
And so the point that I really want everybody to understand is that first impressions last. Yes, we're not supposed to judge up. But when somebody sees you, it takes them less than 3 seconds to form an opinion about you.
Single digit numbers at all time, and I can see if you see 5 or less. 5 or less, and how many in that group?
All right, I'm getting a feedback, so I'm just going to ask people to mute your mic.
So you know what you have to do, right? Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for complying. So please, next slide. Right, so your appearance affects you in a number of ways. Remember that how you dress, how you look, how you appear, whether it is that you're talking about your facial expression, it will say how organized you are. It even says something about the type of organization you're affiliated with. And think long term. If you own a company, would you want somebody who dresses slobby to be affiliated with your company? Remember, I'm checking the chat, everyone. No, all right. And it also says a lot about your professionalism. And boy, this one now, for this point, guys, you ever have a day where you just dress up, look good from head to toe, and the kind of confidence that it gives you on that day when you walk into the room and everybody had a turn, everybody looking up for the gentleman on the call when you have on a sharp suit and you know so your suit well ironed and you're just clean from head to toe. The shoes match the belt and everything. Don't it give you a different kind of confidence? Right? So your appearance affects you in different ways. So while it is that it can affect you in terms of the opinions that people will have of you, it can also affect you in terms of how you feel and how you act. Because when you have confidence, you act a different way and you're able to answer questions in ways that you didn't even know that, you know, is a different kind of persona that comes out. Right, so next slide. Right, so now we're going to just play a little game, a very short game. So who would you work with? So we're looking at Exhibit A, who is the young lady in the dark blue suit, and we're looking at Exhibit B, who is the young lady in the red shoes. So I'm just going to check the chat. Are we going with Exhibit A or Exhibit B? Who would you work with based on how it is that they presented themselves? And I'm seeing that everybody is saying Exhibit A. So I would like somebody to unmute themselves and say why it is that they vote Exhibit A. There's a lot of people on the call. Everybody can't.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Carol.
Hi, Carol.
I would work with Exhibit A. Reason being, she appears professional. She seems to be on a mission, business-like, and at the same time, quite friendly. You know, those are some of the reasons why I would want to work with Exhibit A.
All right, awesome. And I absolutely love your answer. And to everybody else on the call who was actually listening to her response, aren't these some of the points that you would love for an interviewer to describe you as when you walk into the room? So let us go to the next section of this game. Right. So Exhibit A is the man to the, well, how would it be to you? To the left, or you looking on it to the left, yes. The man to the left is exhibit A, the man to the right is exhibit B. So who are we going with? These two walk into the interview room. Two of them have their master's degree distinction. Right, and I would love a gentleman to unmute and tell me why he chose exhibit A. If he did, or if he chose exhibit B, why did he choose exhibit B? Because remember, we're not judging a book by its cover, you know, that's what you guys tell me, that people don't do that.
Well, miss, in my opinion, I'll go with exhibit A.
Okay.
Because as you can see with exhibit A, the gentleman is neatly fitted compared to what you're seeing in exhibit B. As you'd say in Jamaican terms, you need to go to the tailor.
Okay. All right. And this is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, the details, right? So people love a well-tailored suit, and it says a lot more about your character if you're in a well-tailored suit than you just put on a suit that you're drowning in, right? So next slide. Right, I love the comment in the chat a while ago. It provides a more finished look. So now let us dive into the top image mistakes. And I think these mistakes are made mostly by millennials. I'm a millennial, so yes, we're at fault. So the first point is sometimes we're too relaxed, right? So, and I mentioned the example at the start where we go through university and we get used to dressing a particular way. And as soon as we're out of university, it's such a stress to have to put on heels and have to make sure that the suits are well tailored and all of these things, right? So we just put on what we can find and we'll go show up to the people in interview. And then we wonder why is it that we've been searching for 2 months now and all know we can't get anything. The next point is too many accessories or no accessories at all. So, you know, they always say you must have on a little watch on your hand, even if you don't wear earrings, if you don't wear necklaces, at least a little watch on your hand, right? And I have a very good example of the too many accessories point. I won't dive into it now. Colors is another thing. You have to ensure that colors are coordinated well, because colors is something that can play with people's eyes. And if it's too busy, like, they will be distracted in the interview and they won't be listening to what you're saying. You can imagine you're in the interview and you're trying to tell this person how it is that you were able to overcome challenges at your previous workplace, and they were not listening. They couldn't hear one point you were trying to make. All right, so these are details that we need to pay attention to, especially this point, which is the last point, not knowing you. So what this point is saying is there are many times when people are sitting in an interview room or even in the waiting room and their eyes, look at the pictures here on the slide. Their eyes are all over the place. Their facial expression is saying to me that I'm not sure. I'm wondering why is it that I'm here? And, you know, it's a weird place to be contemplating. Why are you here on earth, right? So you need to, right, lack confidence, exactly. And it's something that people can pick up based on your facial expressions. All right, next slide. I absolutely love this group, I must say. I love the interaction. So now we're going to go right into do's and don'ts. Remember that you can open your mic. So at this section now, you can open your mic and say anything that you want to say. Interrupt me at any time. If you have questions, you can feel free to ask as well.
Shania Gill speaking. As it relates to no accessories or too much accessories, why is it that we need to wear jewelry? Suppose we do not like jewelry.
Right. So that's a very good question. I don't like jewelry either. So that's why I'm saying at least a little wristwatch, a little watch would be good. Would that be fine with you? Do you wear watch? Do you wear watch?
No, I am fine wearing jewelry now. I'm just saying that to be honest with you, I really don't see the sense. Why would we need to wear jewelry? So that's basically what I'm trying to get. What's the sense of me wearing jewelry or accessories overall?
Okay. So that point, and it's a very good point. For that point, it's not set in stone, right? So there are some points that you can take and some points that you can leave. So for example, if it is that you really don't like to wear jewelry, I don't think I will turn somebody away, a very good candidate, because that person came into my office with no piece of jewelry. All right? Maybe if that person came into my office wearing a t-shirt or something else that is more serious. But for the jewelry point, yeah. Okay, right. So I'm just checking the chat. So somebody asked if I spoke on the point, hiding your body. So no, I didn't. So that point would speak. It's mostly related to, you remember the picture with the men in the blue suit? Right. So exhibit B would be hiding his body essentially. Right. All right, so let us go through the do's quickly. So it is important that you are confident in an interview. And confidence is like an energy. It's like an energy that they'll feel in the room. All right. So when you're confident, it not only shows on your face and how you act, but it's an energy that you give off. When you're introducing yourself, and this is a point that not many people tell you. So for the 100 people on the call, I'm really happy that you're here. I'm happy to say to you that when you're introducing yourselves in an interview, you need to use your first and last name, not your first name only. Yes, they have your resume right in front of them. And yes, they know who it is that they are speaking to, but still shake their hands and say your first and last name. So if your name is Bianca Jones, it's not Bianca only, it's Bianca Jones. All right? The very third point is prepare for an interview. And if you have pen and paper, and just take some notes if you can. Preparing for an interview is something that sets the candidate who gets the job apart from the candidate who doesn't. When you prepare for an interview, it's not only that you're reading your notes and ensuring that you know your area or your field of expertise, and that is it. You need to know about the company that you are applying to. You need to know about the projects that they've worked on recently, the success and the failures of that project. You see how much homework you have to do when you're preparing for an interview. You have to also look at the skill sets that they advertise for. And if they ask that you need to be competent in the use of, in a specific program such as SPSS, you need to ensure that you refresh your mind about it, because there's some interviews where you go to and they can actually ask you to set up something on SPSS. And if you applied for that job and they specified in their ad that we need somebody who's competent in the use of SPSS, and they ask you to set up something in SPSS and you don't even know how to start the software, right? The fourth point, you have to be pleasant. So in being pleasant, you just have to be mannerable, so know when to speak. So ensure that you don't speak out of turn. So there are some times when you're in an interview and you're having a conversation, because it's very good when you're in an interview and you're having a conversation with the interviewer. Yes, it means the interview is going well. But sometimes you get so excited that you start to talk over the person. The person is saying a point, and you just chip in, and you're like, oh yes, and I remember when this time, and just give the person a chance to speak, and likewise, you will get your chance to speak. Talking about speaking, ensure that whatever you're saying, they're able to hear you. So you need to speak up. You don't want to be in an interview and the interviewer has to draw their chairs closer to you. So you want to ensure that whatever you're saying, they're able to hear. And remember, if there are any questions, you can let me know. So don't score the interview. So you are not advised to bring a friend or a child to the interview. Don't walk with your entourage. And there are some people who might think, oh, but I can carry my child and leave her with the receptionist while I go into the interview room. No, you need to not bring a friend and not bring a child. You need to not wear facial piercings. And I'm pretty sure that some of these points you might be saying, why I even have them on the slide? You can't take anything for granted. You should not flirt in an interview. Yes, I know, pretty straightforward. And don't use the word fired or mention conflicts with past supervisors. So, for example, they might ask you, why is it that, you're quitting or you're leaving your company? I've been on interview panels, and one of the candidates said, the lady, the supervisor, I really did. They unfairly dismissed me from the job, and I wish them the absolute worst, right? And these are things that, boy, if you get comfortable in the interview, especially if you feel as if you're having such a good conversation, you just feel as if you need to be honest to let this person know how backstabbing the supervisor was, and how the supervisor told a lie on you one day, and all of these things. Please be mindful and understand that it's a professional setting. You only say good things. If you don't have anything good to say, no say nothing at all. Just say something good. Try to focus on the positive. And I see somebody ask a question, what would be acceptable to say in such a situation? One of the best responses I've heard is, especially if it is that they ask, why you're leaving your previous job, say to them that you're seeking, or you're seeking, a more challenging environment, something to challenge you, somewhere that you can grow, or something that is more in line with your career objectives. Right? So, and if it is that I've given you an answer and you feel like I need to say something else, or if you want to play the devil's advocate and hit me with something so I can respond to it, please open your mic and do that, because we want for everybody on this call, when they go into an interview, all 100 of you should be able to win that interview. All right? So don't slum, yawn, smoke, chew your nails or gum during the interview, and do not be afraid to say, I know I can make a real contribution, especially giving examples of how exactly you can make that contribution. It's a very good statement to say. Miss Connolly Jones. Hi, so you're saying, isn't that lying? Well, no. Well, it depends. If you don't feel that way, I'm not advising you to say that. If the environment was challenging and it wasn't in line, and it was in line with your career objectives, or I think, Connolly, if you can explain your point.
Hi, good afternoon. So I was just wondering if that's not being dishonest, because as you said, if it's not something that you feel is in alignment with what happened, because what if you actually were comfortable in the job to a point where probably you were too comfortable, so you were one of those who were made redundant or laid off? So wouldn't it just be more appropriate to like use a different word or use synonyms to convey the same idea? Or you just would not want to paint that picture?
Right. So you have to be careful about the information that you give in an interview, because it can help you or it can harm you. So you want to craft it in the best way. And I absolutely appreciate the explanation that you gave. So perhaps in a situation like that, I think you can be honest to say that you were made redundant. I don't think there is anything embarrassing about that. It's not your fault, especially if it is that the company was contracting. And, you know, I just pray that they don't ask such a question in your interview for you to have to say that and explain all of those things. But for that point, though, I just want everybody to the key takeaway is that we always focus as best as possible on the positive side of things, because it speaks to your character. And they will, you know, if you're saying bad things about the place that you used to work, then you can imagine employing that person and something goes wrong at your company and they're walking around saying all sorts of things about your company. So you always have to think about the person on the receiving end. What are the things that you would like to hear? What are the characteristics that you're searching for? All right, next slide.
How about saying you want to maximize your full potential? Is that okay?
Yes, that is definitely okay. And that is in line with saying that you want to be challenged. Right. So I just want to encourage you that when you're going for an interview, be prepared to talk about your professional goals. Be enthusiastic, courteous, and alert throughout the interview. Explain how well your skills match the employer's needs. So this is where you're looking at the skill sets that they're looking for and how is your skill set align with the skill sets being sought. Research the description and apply the skills to the position. So always research the point in the job description, even if it says setting up and scheduling meetings. It might sound like a simple point, but if you really want that job, you would look for different applications and softwares that can efficiently schedule meetings and set up calendar reminders, etc. Right? So you want to stand out as a candidate. All right. So somebody asks, this is Dunkley, if you were fired, won't they find out when they call your employer? So
What,
not
what is it you're buying?
mute, remember to mute.
Fridge? Okay. All right. You know, say fridge and this is Samsung, you know.
Hello? All right. So in answering that question, if they call your former place of employment, they won't necessarily give that information. They won't necessarily ask if you were fired. What they'll ask is the kind of worker that you were, and the kind of character and things along those lines. If you were a bad employee and it gives them motivation to say something more than what they were at, then that would be sort of a sticky situation, which I really hope that none of us will find ourselves in. Grant asks a question, what if you have no previous work experience? If you have no previous work experience, I encourage you to start volunteering to gain some kind of experience or participate in extracurricular activities. There are opportunities to even volunteer with Dress for Success Jamaica, where you can gain some amount of experience. But I do encourage you to, and you have the opportunity now that you're at the University of Technology Jamaica to seek opportunities to get experience. Next slide. All right, so now we're looking at the clothing. So what to wear and what not to wear. All right, so now we're the first point is we're looking for a perfect fit. So it's important that you make sure that the clothes are comfortable. So here's a tip for when you go to a store and you're purchasing new clothes. When you try on the clothes, try sitting and stretching in the clothing. All right, if you find that it's difficult to do so, chances are it's too tight. You don't want to wear anything short or too tight or too revealing. And I'm advising against wearing sheer tops, especially even if you're going to wear something underneath the sheer top. I know that's a trending style. It is advised to stick to the traditional means of professionalism and wear a solid top. So let us look at the point of business casual. So it is important that you wear a clean, iron, tailored suit or dress to your interview. There isn't, so really business casual, even if they say it's okay to dress casually. For the ladies, the most casual you get is wearing a dress, a very formal dress, right? This is an interview and we're trying to get our foot into the door. So we have to ensure that we are dressed professionally. Don't wear jeans, corduroys, t-shirts, or polo shirts. And I'm pretty sure that this point is straightforward, so we don't even need to stay too long on this slide. Next slide. And if you have questions, please unmute or ask in the chat, guys. Remember, I'm checking the chat as I go through accessories. So remember I said that I'm going to show you what I mean by too much accessories. Let us look at the young miss who is in a orange, red, pink, yellow, and look at this ring as well beside it. They're definitely overdoing it with too many necklaces and large earrings and rings. And trust me, there are people who will wear these types of jewelry to interviews. So you want to keep it simple. Accessories should enhance and not detract.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Roden, on the note of accessories, I've seen in the chat where somebody was asking about anklets, and I'm as curious as that person to find what the input is regarding that.
Yeah, no to anklets. So stick to wearing either an earring or a necklace or both, but no anklets. No anklets. No facial piercing. If you have more than one ear piercings, please only wear one, which is the normal one and on the ear knob. Does that answer your question?
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah. You can wear your anklets on the weekends and otherwise, but not to the interview. All right, next slide. All right, so grooming is key. And so, of course, keeping your hair neat and simple. You don't want to wear a complicated hairstyle or loud or excessive makeup. You want to wear something that is natural looking or just something to enhance the features. So sometimes for me, so I'm the type of person, I don't like to wear makeup, to be very honest with you. So I would wear probably just lipstick or lip gloss, and that is pretty much it. I prefer to invest in getting flawless skin than to wear all of these makeup. I don't know. I feel as if I'm allergic to makeup. That's why. I'm just sharing this with you because I know that there are some women who share the same thing. And I want you to know that you're not alone where this is concerned. And if you do wear makeup, then I advise you to just wear a light makeup and not something that is too overly done. And of course, for the gentlemen, I'm not going to leave out the gentlemen. So you have to wear a well-tailored. It's advised that you wear a well-tailored suit and tie. Always keep your jacket buttoned when standing up. You don't want to look slobby by untucking your shirt or wearing a wrinkled shirt or loosening your tie. And I'm pretty sure that this is straightforward, right? These are things that sometimes we don't necessarily look up. Right. So as Miss Robinson said, no party beat face, or no party face beat, right? So nothing like that. Right. So very important point I'm seeing here. What about if your head is shaved? What about the shave pattern? Right. You don't want to have you're not supposed to. That would be a busy style, right? So you want to keep, same for the gentleman. You want to keep your style, your hairstyle very simple. So if you shave in your head, shave it and keep it in one style. And this is an example again of the suit in terms of it being fitted and not fitted. All right, next slide. All right, so more for men. So you want to look clean, polished, and professional in a dark colored suit, preferably black or brown. And you don't want to underdress, so no polo shirts, no fitted. I know that fitteds are not acceptable for an interview. Yes, I do believe that cornrows would be acceptable if you have hair on your head. So I think that is the most appropriate hairstyle for if you're going to an interview. Because if you don't want to cut your hair for whatever purposes, then I wouldn't advise you to do so for the interview. Success is in the details. So this is for ladies and men. So even though we only have ladies' bags displayed here, I noticed that a number of men like to walk with backpacks or a bag that is kind of too casual. It's either a black or brown handbag for the ladies or a briefcase for the men. Next slide. So we want to ensure that we are professional from head to toe. So we covered most of the things that we should have on the list. And if there is anything that we missed, please ask in the chat, or you can unmute and say what you need to say. But remember, I'm checking the chat. So somebody says, what about the size of the handbag? So note, okay, so I just got an interesting message. What about flat shoes? So unfortunately, and trust me, I love flat shoes, but flat shoes are a big no-no to interviews. So if you can't wear the heel too high, wear the little kitten heel then. The kitten heel should be fine. In terms of the size of the handbag, the normal handbag sizes, boy, I don't know the measurement to be specific, but nothing too small. The one that you throw over and you wear to your party, nothing like that. A normal work handbag would be fine. Something similar in size to a briefcase that can hold your resume inside of it. Now we're looking at the shoes. So you want to wear clean and appropriate dress shoes to your interview. So you're not wearing shoes, no open toe shoes. Yeah, you want to ensure that you're professional from head to toe. Next slide. So here are tips and tricks to build your wardrobe. So you want to invest in a few classic pieces. You want to buy items that can easily be mixed and matched. So solid colors are usually easier to mix and match. You want to add colors with accessories such as colorful scarves or fun jewelry. And when in doubt, don't. So don't, if you're iffy about it, if you're not sure if this chain is or necklace is formal, just don't, just leave it. Yes, a pantsuit would be acceptable for ladies. So now we're looking at tips for personal development. Just some brief tips. So I want to encourage you all. So we just went through the getting ready for the interview. I want to encourage you all to prioritize your activities, build your self-confidence, be willing to learn and to change the way you think, be friendly and help others when you're able. And lastly, I want to share with you this quote: dress shabbily and they remember the dress. Dress impeccably and they remember the woman or the man. All right? So thank you so much for having me, and I'll take the questions at this time. Oh, before I go, I actually have a video to show. So I want you guys to share in the chat the things that you would have learned.
Hi, I'm Antonio. I'm the founder of Real Men, Real Style, and
All right, so I'm just waiting on the video to come up. The last video.
Miss, in the meantime, did you say flat shoes is a no-no?
Can you repeat that?
I was asking if you were saying that flat shoes is a no-no for the interview.
Yes, it is. So I did say that flat shoes is a no-no for an interview. You can wear a kitten heel if you're not too comfortable with the high heels, and nothing too high as well.
Miss, why is that so?
You have to look at how professional would it look if you walk into an interview in a flat shoes.
Miss, I've been to many interviews in a flat shoes, and I didn't know that was a thing to you look unprofessional.
Yeah, but I really don't set the rules because I can't tell you like why it is. Because honestly, if I did, I would have allowed flat shoes because I love flat shoes. I prefer flat shoes.
hi, I'm Antonio. I'm the founder of Real Style, and Patrick asked me to come on to Valuetainment here, speak with you guys about why style matters. And if you hear that phrase and you're thinking, okay, I don't care about fashion runways, I don't care really about clothing, I get you, I understand. And to be honest, I don't really care about clothing either. What I care about, though, is how it can help you send the message you want to send. Because think about it. When you walk into a doctor's office, what do you expect to see? If you have a guy come out, he's wearing a tie-dye shirt with dirty shorts and a pair of sandals, are you going to give him your child to take care of? You're going to wonder, where's the doctor at? Why? Because visually, this person does not match your idea of what a successful doctor looks like. A successful doctor who's gone to school, who's put in the time, who's put in the effort, who has the experience is going to wear a white coat. I mean, you don't ask to see the doctor's degree. You don't ask what school did he go to, what kind of grades. Does he really have an expertise? We implicitly trust this person because their clothing sends a message of authority. You can bet whatever industry you're in, whatever company you're trying to set up, there is an industry standard of trust. You're in the plumbing industry. You're in the electrical industry. Yes, think about it. A uniform. If somebody were to show up knocking at your door, they're wearing a nice blue uniform that has their company name, has the technician's name. He has a squared away looking little toolbox there. You're going to trust this individual. You're going to open the door versus someone that shows up dressed like a drunk. Literally, I have seen people that go out and they think that image doesn't matter, even in blue collar industries. That's not the truth. Image matters everywhere, whether it be a car, whether it be the way that you dress yourself, whether it be actually your body and what kind of shape you're in. Are you going to trust a physical trainer who is in horrible shape, that's smoking a cigarette and is trying to give you advice on how to improve your health? No, you're going to say everything about this betrays my expectations of what you should be and what you stand for. So my goal right now is to help you understand why style and image, why it can help you and how it can help you. So the first thing here is you need to write down in the comments, what is your driver? This goes back to a guy named Simon Sinek, and I love his presentations, how he talks about having your why. It's the inner circle within it. You can imagine before you do things, you've got to understand, why are you doing it? You need that emotional component. Because I can tell you, as you're looking to improve your wardrobe, spend money, go out there and invest in your image, you're going to run into doubt. You're going to run into problems. You're going to say, is it really worth this? And unless you've got that driver, that inner core, that why, that emotional driver, you're going to stop. You're going to maybe give up. After a couple of weeks, you're going to say, no, it's not worth it. I'll just go back to what I was doing, even though it wasn't working very well. So once you've got that emotional driver, that could be, you want to make your business successful. You want to hit $1 million in sales this year. Or maybe it's your family. You say, I want to show my kids that I am not a deadbeat, that I can actually, even though I got fired from my last 2 jobs, that I can make a go with this particular company and that I'm going to become the top salesperson. I'm going to have a story that people are going to talk about. They're going to use me as an example of great human success. That can be your why. So write it down. Put it down there in the comments. Then all of a sudden, you've got something that can help you power through all the obstacles you're going to face. Because I'm going to be honest with you. As you look to improve yourself, if you look to dress better, people are going to ask you, why are you so dressed up? Why are you making me look bad? What, are you going to an interview or something? Are you better than me? People are going to throw out those obstacles. You'll realize it's not about you. It's about them. It's about how you're making them and the place that they're trying to stay maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable. So when you've got your why, you realize, hey, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it for the example that I want to set for those that have inspired me and helped me get to where I am so that I can pay them back, so that I can become that person that they know that I am. So again, let me know down in the comments. Now, personally, I'll share with you guys what drives me, because I wasn't always, a guy wearing a suit talking about style. Nowadays, and you can go check out what we've created at Real Men Real Style. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos, millions of views. We've got apps. I've got infographics. I've got tons of stuff. Sorry, ladies, most of it's geared towards men, but I do use the science of style, which I find you can apply to any sex, or definitely you can apply to anyone. But what drives me is I know where I come from. I come from a trailer park in West Texas, and I remember how people dressed in those trailer parks. That is not, nothing against these people. I I'm one of them, but it is something that I know if I wanted to get into the fashion industry, my first company was a custom clothier. If I was going to sell suits, I had to come across as someone that looked like he understood what suits were, the history, and what they stood for. So that was my why, is that I realized, okay, if I want to be successful, but when I got down deeper, I realized, I want to be able to build a home and a family for my kids and my family. I've never had a house that I had built out. So right now we're still working on that dream. But to get to that place, when I get up early in the morning and I have to film sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning, yes, even now that we've had great success, I've got a fire inside of me. That fire is lit because I realize I'm doing this so that I can putting aside money to build a dream home, a place where all of my family, whether it be my wife's extended family, whether it be my extended family, they can come to Wisconsin and spend time with us. The fridge will always be full. I'll have guest rooms, lots of guest rooms. I'll have 100 acres of land. That's my dream. That's my why. That's my driver. So when you've got something like that, you realize, hey, what I'm doing, I'm also on a mission. So you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this. But every time I know that someone dresses better and someone compliments them, they feel, I'm like, wow, this stuff really works. And they build upon that. They keep going. I realize that information I'm putting out, that empowering tools that I'm providing to people, when they use that stuff and they are becoming better people, that's, another thing that just drives me every single day. So ladies, gentlemen, write down in the comment section right now, what's going to be your emotional drive? What's your why? Why are you going to try to improve your image, improve your style, so that you can get what you want for the life? Patrick, thank you for having me, and I look forward. I've got a lot more videos. We're going to get ultra specific about how clothing should fit, what type of clothing should be in your wardrobe, what type of image each piece sends. We're going to talk about some of the science of style. I'm going to talk about my experience as a clothier and how I've seen people actually use clothing and stuff. But guys, that's it for right now. I say guys, but also ladies, because I really like talking to a broad audience. Let me know if you've got questions. I'll try to engage with you guys down in the comments. Take care.
All right, so are there any questions from the video? Let me check the chats. Is everybody able to hear me? Is everybody hearing me?
You're really low.
Sorry about that. Let me try to unmute and... All right, not sure if it's better, but are there any questions? So we are at the end of the presentation. How was the session for you? What are your key takeaway points? Were there any shockers, any surprises, anything that you found? Why do you have such a rule? I've been getting a number of questions like that. All right, so I think my phone takes a while to kick in, so it should be okay. So thank you, Steve. Very informative session. Anybody else? What were your key takeaways from
Good afternoon again, Connolly here. Pardon?
Hi, I'm saying hi.
Okay, so back to the point of hair. We're saying the point was that we're supposed to have simple, presentable hairstyles, right?
Yes.
So I am not sure what the stance is with Jamaica, but I know that on our foreign markets, they would say that wearing your natural hair out would probably be more of a distraction than having it in a ponytail or something. So I'd want to know what is the take on that.
Right. So you want to, if you have natural hair, depending on how groomed it is, because there is some natural hairstyles that can be worn out, but if your hair is too puffy and it can be a distraction, then you want to catch it up and probably put it in a ponytail. So
Okay.
Guidelines, I want for everybody to understand that there are guidelines, and so there are things that you can take and things that you can leave, but you just have to always remember that the goal is to be presentable from head to toe. So nothing on you should ever be distracting. So if your hair is natural, and I know some natural hairs can be very poofy and very, it might be nice in a casual setting, but in a professional setting, it can be deemed as very distracting. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it does. And that would apply for not just interviews, but overall employment within the industry. That would be something that would be specified or outlined within the company's guidelines.
Yes, it would.
Okay, thank you.
And as with the first video, I know we weren't able to hear it so clearly, but in the first video, it actually said that sometimes your industry will say otherwise. So your industry will always, so for example, creatives are able to wear red here, pink here, blue here to work, while it is that if you're in a corporate setting, then you know it's only black here or dark brown or a special shade of brown that you're allowed to wear. And creatives would be allowed to wear their piercings, any amount of piercings that they have. All right, so are there any more questions? Oh, here is our contact information. So please like our Facebook page, Dress for Success Jamaica. Please follow us on Instagram, and please send us an email as well if you want volunteer opportunities. If you know anybody who needs clothing, or if you yourself need clothing, whether it is 5 pieces of clothing for your job interview, for your first week of work, and you're not in a financial position to purchase these clothings, please reach out to us. This is what we're here for, and we have a goal. We want to dress over 150 women in 2021, and we know that there are a lot of women in Jamaica who need the help. So if you can reach out to them, please take a screenshot of our details, send it out in WhatsApp groups so that people can reach out to us. I would love for the word to get out there. We have a lot of clothes, and we want to help women to get to that professional, to get their professional look, and to benefit from the resources and training that we have available for them. All right, so I'm seeing a question from Candice about wearing braids. So as it regards to wearing braids, yes, you can wear braids. There is nothing wrong with wearing braids. It's just about how this distracting the style is. So if you're wearing braids with different colors, that might be a no-no. All right, so I'm so happy that you heard that response. Wow. So, are there any more questions?
Good day, Miss. You mentioned something about the colors, but isn't colors like natural colors acceptable? So if it's a braid with a mix of like natural looking brown or red, wouldn't that be acceptable?
So yeah, that's fine. Yes, that would be acceptable.
Okay.
when I said colors, I meant like the red and the blue and anything that would be deemed distracting. But in our culture, we know that braids is a part of our culture, and people like to wear the black and they mix it with a little brown. That is fine. And if you have a one gold strand in there, that is also fine. Yes, I will be sharing my presentation. I'll send it. Oh, that was a private message. All right, so everybody check the chat. There is a registration form and an evaluation form for you to fill out. So please, everyone, please fill it out. Are there any last questions?
Yes, Miss Roden. Steve here. Wanted to know what's the best way to negotiate his salary at the interview?
Very nice question. So when it comes on to salary, it's a very tricky point, right? So there are some positions that will publicize and stipulate what the salary is. And there's some instances, specifically in the private sector, where they give you the opportunity to negotiate. So when it comes on to negotiating your salary, always know the substance that you're bringing to the table, right? So you don't give them a figure. I would never advise you to start off by giving them a figure. You always start off by asking them what is the range they have in mind. You always have to ask the employer that, because if you give a figure, you might give a too low figure, or a figure that is probably too high, that they're thinking that you're too ambitious.
Yes.
Right. So you ask them, and it's within your rights to ask, what is the range for this position? And if the range seems too small to you, and you know that with your years of experience and your qualifications, you should be getting probably a $200,000 or a $500,000 more, ask about the benefits that come with the position as well. And then you start to negotiate now and say that, but I have X, Y, and Z years of experience. So it's either you add more benefits or just a little bit more to the salary in the most polite and pleasant way. You don't want to sound as if you're bossing them around or giving them a threat, like if they don't raise it, you're not at the work.
Yes.
So what if they ask, how much do you expect? Wow, if they ask you that, then this is why you have to do some research as it regards to the position and give a range of what you would expect. It's okay to give a range, and based on your research and based on your own self expectations, you will know what range is suitable to say, and make the range wide enough so that it's your desired salary is somewhere in the middle. And something that will make you say yes right away is right at the upper end, and something that is just right on the borderline is on the lower end. All right, so before I go, I just want to tell everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the opportunity for presenting to you, and have a great day. My phone is almost dead, so I will share my presentation with you. If you have any questions, feel free to send an email to Jamaica. Well, the presentation just gone, but I hope you got down the email address. Feel free to send an email to us, and I will respond to your emails personally. All right, so thank you, everyone. I'm really happy. happy that it was informative. Thank you so much. You guys were great. You guys interacted. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Continue to take advantage of opportunities like these. Big up to UTech for putting on this amazing session.
Thank you, Ms. Roden, for your presentation. It was a very well done presentation, very detailed, very thorough. And I'm sure we all learned a lot. And I'm sure it was a refresher for all of us. I, for one, definitely got some information refreshed for myself. And I'm sure for others it was a refresher as well. Okay, Connolly, you're hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I just saw your question. I'm just gonna go back to the chat and look at it so I can answer. All right, so your question is about job fair. Yes, job fair is an annual thing. It's held March of every year. This year it is a little bit different. In years past, it used to be 1 day. This year, it will be 3 days. Job fair is held March of every year, so I'm just going to post the dates in the chat. And of course, it will be held virtually. So I just posted the dates in the chat. It's March 10 to 12, so that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, March 10, 11, and 12, 2021. Used to be 1 day. But however, due to COVID and due to the shift of putting everything online, we have now opted to have job fair over a 3-day period. Okay, to answer your question, the other part of your question. Okay, all right, so in years past, job fair was mainly targeting the final year students, fourth and final year students mainly. However, as of last year, we decided to open the fair a little bit to accommodate second year and third year students. And then there are students who are in fourth year, but they're not finalizing or in their final year. So ultimately, we decided to open the fair to second year, third year, fourth, fifth, sixth year, all the way up to final year. And of course, graduates are welcomed and are eligible to participate in the fair as well.